The good doctor, Jill Biden, is not an inherently interesting person at all. She's been a supposed teacher for some decades now, wrote a frankly academically insulting thesis to get a meaningless educational doctorate, and now functions as her husband's nursemaid, of course. Serving vanilla ice cream and tapioca pudding has become her way to serve the country as the First Lady. And not that we're really missing much now, are we? Because, let's be honest, she's also lacking any sort of genuine charisma or charm. And of course, she's really just another old rich white lady, so there's that. So why someone thought a biography of her would be interesting is impossible to understand, although a biography that took 2 people to write hit the market this past week, and boy, did it completely bomb. Here's the good Dr. Jill's bio in a nutshell. She dropped out of junior college, got married, and went to the University of Delaware to be an English major. She and her husband separated and she began dating Biden, then a senator and widower with 2 children. Word on the street at the time was that she was seeing Joe far before her separation from her first husband. Her divorce eventually came through. She graduated with an English degree and started working as a teacher. She and Joe married, but she never did adopt his boys. She got a master's of education, and then she got another master of education. She taught English classes. She got her education doctorate, as I mentioned earlier, based on a badly written thesis, almost as bad as Michelle Obama's bachelor's thesis. Which is bizarre if you think about it and consider her English language background. She's always been obsessed with people calling her doctor, which is the height of narcissism, and why I always refer to her as the good doctor. And really, that's about it, except for the fact that she's clearly Joe's caretaker now, telling him when to speak and when to be silent, when to walk and where. When at home, she can be found yelling at old Joe in the backyard frequently. "Damn it, stop chasing those squirrels!" But seriously, who knows what goes on behind closed doors? One can only imagine. It's not a bad resume for a middle-class married woman, don't get me wrong. It's just utterly average. Nevertheless, Julie Page and Darlene Superville, both of whom are Associated Press reporters, thought there was something there. Something people would be willing to pay $26 for a hardback to learn about. But like Netflix and Disney and Spotify and CNN, their instincts were entirely wrong, as their book had one of the worst first weeks in biography history. This from the Washington Free Beacon. The American people are decidedly disinclined to pay $26 for a book about the life of President Joe Biden's primary caretaker. Politico reports that a recently published biography of the good Dr. Jill Biden sold just 250 copies in its first week of circulation. The Politico article, which documents the professional anxiety of White House correspondents who find it, quote, boring and difficult to cover an administration whose policies they wholeheartedly support, cites the poor sales of Jill's books as an example of why journalists are so bummed out now that a Democrat is in charge. Now, just on its face, that's complete nonsense considering, if I recall, Hillary Clinton's book and Michelle Obama's book and so on and so forth were all bestsellers because they were popular inside the party. You know, they'll never admit it publicly, but America's journalists are simply desperate for Donald Trump to run again in 2024. Profits are in the tank, viewership's in the tank. Biden promised to be a boring president, and in comparison to Trump, he certainly has been. That's a really low bar to clear, though. One might think a president that reporters find so boring and difficult to cover would be overwhelmingly popular. He most certainly is not. At least among normal Americans, right? Reporters are simply less inclined to speak truth to power when one of their Democrats is president. Truly, no one cares about the good Dr. Jill. There is nothing to care about. It's like reading the biography of your next-door neighbor who's nice enough, but never really did anything special. I mean, if you think about it, Joe's approval ratings or popularity is bad enough on its own, meaning they're both about as interesting as Mitch McConnell or Mike Pence. I'm quite sure if asked about the piss-poor sales, the excuse will no doubt have something to do with Russia or Putin, or hell, maybe they'll blame it on Elon this time. But either way, I find it very interesting that unlike with so many other Democrat presidents and first ladies, they didn't have donors buy up the first printing immediately for appearance sake. I mean, come on, we know damn well no one really actually reads Barack Obama's books or his idiotic husband's. I mean, liberals won't even watch them on Netflix. That's why they got canned last week. Any guesses as to how many copies of the good doctor's biography will be sold in Ukraine? Leave a comment down below. Most of this came by way of The American Thinker. If you liked it, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment down below. There's a PayPal link in the description box, so please put $1 in the bucket on the way out the door. I'd like to thank everyone for all your donations. They're much needed and much appreciated. Now, with all that being said, we'll see you next time.
Come on, move. Move. Easy, easy.